Murmurs of Cyber Rebellion are quickly turning it into an underground cult hit. While most gacha coddle you these days, Cyber Rebellion pulls no punches. We're gonna need all the help we can get, so here's the top 6 heroes for Cyber Rebellion. Number 6 is our only double S healer on the list, but it's well deserved. Starring Diva logistically doubles your team's survivability with excessive healing. She also cleanses debuffs from your team, which is amazing for dealing with all the damage over time, stat breaks, and crowd controls in the game. Healers are quite rare in Cyber Rebellion, but they can be absolutely necessary sometimes. After all, you're not doing any damage if you're dead. And I mean, come on, that dance is awesome. Crowd control is kinda huge in this game. There's multiple wave stages that can be tough to crack without the right tools. Luckily, Foamy Sweet Dream has an area of effect crowd control that can stop the enemy team in their tracks. Her bubbles trap enemies, preventing them from moving. With the right commander cards and perfect RNG, you can even stunlock entire enemy teams for multiple turns. Both her skills cast the bubbles, so even if an enemy or two don't get the debuff, you can follow up with more bubbles. And her damage is surprisingly good too, for a bubble girl. AoE is a cornerstone strategy for every RPG. You'll be hard-pressed to find a gacha game that doesn't reward boosting an AoE carry as soon as possible. Well, Rick the New Order here not only handles AoE damage in spades, but additionally adds Electric Shock as well. Electric Shock in this game is a reliable damage over time, and his ultimate does increase damage to shocked enemies. So if you use the same card combo setup as we talked about with Foamy Sweet Dream, you could be looking at 5 instances of huge damage on the whole enemy team. A lot of PvE content damage checks you. Bringing Rick will definitely land you that rank 1 spot in the AoE raids. Next up at number 3 is Uzaku. Much like the previous entrant, she boasts a decent AoE attack, but hers is only a 2 cost, so it's easy to fit into your combos. Unlike the others though, she has a powerful single target nuke. She can also ignore the opponent's defense, which helps for downing tankier foes. Her fission line is based off the original starting unit, so there's no RNG involved, you can build her right away. Her S-rank fission has comparably less damage, but a similarly effective kit, so even if you don't unlock Uzaku right away, you'll have a surefire strategy to getting her. And once you do, it will have been worth it. So getting down to brass tacks, a gacha game is kinda like a math game. Sure, there's plenty of content, stuff to do, and things to collect, but when you start min-maxing your stats with modules, you can really see the disparity between those who calculate their sets and those that just throw on whatever they got. Critical strikes are powerful, but it's hard to crit consistently. This is where Seiryu comes into play. He provides a 30% crit rate buff to himself and 15% at base for each ally. That's 95% crit rate spread amongst your team. 95% crit rate you don't need to min-max your gear for. Plus, he has a pretty strong AoE and revives himself upon death. And while that's pretty good for a number 2 slot, it would be entirely disingenuous to place him any higher, which leads us to number 1. If you didn't skip to this part of the video, then you may have noticed a trend with the previous entrants being damage dealers. So what's the deal with Dirty Gold? Well, she doesn't heal you or cleanse debuffs, but how about I do you one better? Stat stealing and mind control. No matter which hero your enemy has, Dirty Gold cuts their attack stat tremendously and straight up gives it to your own attacker. This really throws a wrench in opposing AoE cleave teams, all the while amplifying your own damage dealer. She's useful in almost every single situation. Those tough bosses? Piece of cake. Arena cleave teams? Sweeped. But that's not even all she does. She makes a deal with an enemy, temporarily turning them into an ally, so you get a 7v5 for a couple rounds. A 7v5 assisted by her defense breaks, causing enemies to take even more damage, and a silence, preventing the enemy from using skills at all. Yep, Dirty Gold is a master of manipulation, and using her basically turns Cyber Rebellion's difficulty down a notch, and that's why she's number 1 on the list. And those were the top 6 heroes for Cyber Rebellion. Of course, there's nuance in all situations, and some characters may be even better than the ones listed for certain scenarios. If there's a hero you think would have been a better fit for the list, then let us know why in a comment. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe, but other than that, y'all, that's gonna do it for me today, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.